We got a tweet from the Trump War Room. It's a clip from CNN. No change in public opinion during the Trump trial. This is amazing. Check this out.
John, that it began, but apparently it's 44 days. You cracked the numbers. You've run the numbers. All right, let's take a look here. Think Trump did something illegal in the New York hush money case. I've been interested in whether or not these numbers would change at all during the course of this trial. Simply put, John, they have not. Pre-opening statements think Trump did something illegal, 46%. After the direct examination of Michael Cohen by the prosecution, look at where we are now, 46%. The percentage of Americans who think that the charges are very serious, in fact, dropped from 40% to a little bit more than 35% during the course of this trial. So, yes, perhaps things might have changed with those 12 jurors, but when it comes to the larger American public, there has been no change, at least so far, John.
I really love how he had to write no with his finger on their stupid screen.
I like that he's presenting it as a win. Like,
any possible reasons why?
Despite the fact.
Yeah, I think the question is what's exactly cooking here? Why hasn't there been much of a change? Well, folks like you and me, real news junkies, might be paying really close attention to what's going on. The fact is, most Americans don't really care that much. So closely following news about economy inflation, that's number one at 65%. Look at immigration, 52%. Election legitimacy, 49%. Abortion, 47%. All the way down on this list of issues tested by the Ipsos Knowledge Panel is Trump's court cases at 42%, significantly less than economy inflation. The fact is, John, when we're looking at these numbers, what we see is Americans' minds aren't changing, and a big reason why Americans' minds aren't changing is at this particular point, John, they are tuned out of the country.
I'll just rephrase it for you, buddy. They don't care.
Right.
They're wondering why their eggs cost so much money, why they can't afford milk and bread.
Yep.
And they know that Joe Biden's not the president who's going to fix the economy.
That's right.
And Donald Trump is.
That's right.
That's it.
When I talked to our president the other day, when I say that, I was talking about Donald Trump. And I said, you have this bucket here, this common sense bucket. And I told him, you know, as things he keeps getting attacked, his polls keep going up. And once you're in the bucket, I told him, you've given nobody a reason to leave that bucket, because he can go back to December of 2019. And all of us, our lives, no matter where you started or how many forks you ate with, your lives had somewhat improved with the economy all-time high, highest consumer confidence ever. And now the destruction that's going on with the economy and the borders, and being the next crack addict, worry about the addiction, the hopelessness with the fentanyl pouring across and deaths all over. These things are driving people to this bucket of common sense, and they don't care about all this nonsense that we're having to go through. Though that other case where I'm sitting in Mar-a-Lago the other day where that one judge said it was Mar-a-Lago was worth like $18 million or some nonsense. I'm going, this wing's worth $18 million. I know what the properties are worth around there, and you just can't. You put your head around this and going, what's going on? What are they doing this for? But I just think it's pure evil, and it's backfiring on them. Let's not just do one. Let's do 4 indictments. Let's just keep going. We pile on, the public will just go away.
Right, and each case is the most important one. Every time one hits it, they're like, "Well, we weren't that serious about that. We're really serious about the next one."
This is the big one here.
This always makes me laugh because CNN is almost like, well, we have to justify because we thought people would be obsessed with this. Because I assume CNN or maybe the prosecution would assume that as they present their case and the media freaks out about it, CNN covered it nonstop, that more people would start to believe that Donald Trump had done something wrong. But in fact, the fact that there's no change tells you how ineffective this prosecution was and how siloed we are politically.
No. There is a big change. CNN's ratings have gone down.
That's so true.
And I think they're lying about their staying even. They have to. It's probably so much pouring into this bucket. They got to go, we'll just say it's even, that it's not going up. When really it's going up, right?
I do wonder how much you guys think the admission from CNN is going to actually move the needle. Now, I don't think that actually anything coming from the courtroom is going to, but I do wonder if the people that have been spreading the narrative and the viewers have been used to kind of allowing them to shift, as the narrative shifts and not really interrogate the change. Do you think that this is going to move the needle? Do you think that they're going to be like, well, maybe because CNN, how much do you think it's going to matter, if at all?
So a couple of years ago, I was at a family dinner for Thanksgiving, And it was very much you got your liberal family members and you got your conservative family members. And then last year it was nobody was with Biden.
Right.
So without getting into too much detail for the sake of people's privacy, it was kind of like, a couple of years ago, it's like, no, Trump's bad. Oh, come on, Biden's not that bad. Last year was, Biden's awful. It wasn't a pro-Trump thing. It was, I can't believe how bad things are getting.
That's exactly right. And that's like, I just spent like a week in Chicago, and I'm not kidding. I couldn't believe it that these people, I went to the Capitol, and all the Democrats there were coming up to me and asking me, because they're, I'm all for election platforms, securing our elections. And they're coming up to me. These are politicians coming up to me. Even they see what's going on. I really believe that you look around, and it's a destruction that's going on, but it's actually, all these things that's getting, I call them uniparty Republicans. I call them blockers out there, the Brad Rassenbergers, the Robin Voss of the world that I'm trying to get gone. And these guys, there's been so much revealed and by this onion being opened up, what was the nonsense of shutting down the pipeline on the first day when he was in power? That's done more destruction than anything. All the entrepreneurs in our country, the shipping charges, the stuff that goes with that is destroying, and people, they don't see what's really going on there. This mom and pop businesses where you have these shipping charges because of one thing. You shut down the pipeline. Gas prices can control everything. What I do believe when Donald Trump, I'll say when he's back in, this can all be fixed maybe better than ever, because we've all learned so much what does destroy, what is open our eyes. That border's disgusting. I mean, when you have something that's going right, why would you not keep doing it right?
So Joe Biden shuts down Keystone, shuts down these pipelines, bans fracking on federal lands, and a bunch of Trump supporters are like, oh, look, gas prices are going up. The media then says Trump supporters are lying because Keystone wasn't in operation. It wasn't actually transporting crude, so it has no effect. That's a lie. Right. What happened was there is supply and demand, and there's future prospecting on the amount of supply that's going to be available. When Biden shut down Keystone, basically all of the speculators and all of the companies said, without this pipeline, we are going to be in a supply deficit within X amount of years.
That's right.
Buy now to bolster our stocks of petroleum. And then other speculators come in saying, oh, wow, I'm going to get rich when the price skyrockets, this speculation causes immediate prices of crude to go up, and then you feel it at the gas pump.
Right. That's right.
It's all speculation.
And not to mention 13 people on that pipeline committed suicide of those workers. That was their job. It was disgusting what went on there. They just shut it down overnight, and it was bad.
That's terrible, but people do need to take into account how, like, the policy decisions that an administration talks about, regulations that they discuss, affects the price of gas. And we discuss how immoral it is that the Biden administration is taking, oil from our strategic reserves, because that leaves the United States in a even more compromised position internationally or on the geopolitical scale or whatever. But the fact of the matter is, like, there are still things that the Biden administration could do that would help not just the cost of fuel, like gas, but the cost of everything, because the cost of gas is such a large part of every single thing we purchase.
Huge.
Biden could come out and be like, I'm going to raise gas prices. And they just go nuts. The whole system would freak out because people would start making crazy moves. Yeah. There was this moment when I think it was the Syrian Electronic Army, which was a couple of hackers based in Russia, actually, supporting Syria. I think they were Syrian, but they were refugees. They hacked the AP Twitter account, tweeted that Barack Obama had been injured in some kind of attack, and then the market just tanked. Right. And then when the AP got control back and then said this was a hack, it jumped back up to about 90% of where it was. What people don't realize is that was an instant transfer of probably hundreds of millions of dollars from one group to the next.
Right.
That could have just a tweet.
Yep,
that's how simple it is. So what do you think happens when Biden says, I'm banning fracking on federal lands and we're shutting down a massive oil pipeline?
Right.
Gas prices going to go up.
He could do something too, but he's so beholden to the the eco crazies that he's got to deal with in his own party.
Yeah, he did make environmentalism a huge part of his platform.
Yeah.
But I think actually a larger component would probably be the Saudis. I think Biden's looking to cut a deal with Saudi Arabia of, okay, you keep the flow rolling. We'll cut down giving you control over supply so long as you agree to work with us, as to how the petrodollar works. Earn favor with Saudi Arabia. You're going to make a lot more money as the main supplier. We'll cut back, but don't do it out of turn. We want to control how much you're actually putting out. So you get more from when Saudi Arabia dumps oil into the market, it affects the dollar. And so the U.S. is trying to negotiate. Right. And then, of course, you get the Yemen crisis, the U.S. supporting them. Trump's not innocent there. That's a whole other fiasco. But I think Joe Biden is basically I told this to Trump. It seems like the MAGA platform is secure our borders, bring our jobs back, get the American workers back to work, boost our economy internally. And the Democrat platform is, no, we don't need to do any of that. All we got to do is send our men and women overseas to go fight in wars, to go blow up people and get blown up, and then hopefully we can control enough territory and energy that we can just take from everybody else.
Right.
That's not a successful policy in the long term. It results in terror, blowback, war, and conflict, and nobody wants to spend money on that.
That's right. I
seen the warmongers.
I seen something. It was such irony. It was just yesterday. I think it might have been on Facebook or Twitter or something. And here in California, so you take away your police, and you have all these electric cars, and all the stations where all of them were cut because there's copper in the lines, and all of them were ransacked. I mean, hundreds of these. Yeah. And they showed all the copper cutouts, so they're sitting there. Well, now you're going to have to, how are you going to police them? Now you got to remake them to be, because people are going to keep doing it. They don't get arrested for anything out in California. You know?
People are cutting the Tesla.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of copper
in there. There's a lot of copper.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I'm going, this, once again, bad decisions. One of the things when I met Donald Trump, people always ask me, it's in my book too, but is when I met him in August of 2016, I never voted in my life. I was an ex-crack addict. I didn't think politics meant a thing, right? The world goes on. And
you never voted at all?
I never voted. I was a crack addict. One time on a show, when I did my first rally, they go, I was on a radio station yesterday, and there was like 20,000 people at this rally, and I was first speech I ever did, and I go, there was 20,000 people. I said I was getting interviewed on a radio station. They called me the founder of My Pillow and a former Democrat. I said I got right on there and corrected him. I didn't find My Pillow. I invented My Pillow. I wasn't a former Democrat. I was a former crack addict. And everybody laughed. I go, no, really, I was, right? But
they laughed because they were like, well, what's the difference?
Yeah, but the point being, what I was saying, when I met him, it was I met him August 15, 2016, and he invited me there just because I had My Pillow made in the USA, and he wanted to ask me, this nobody from Minnesota that had built a company from, being an American dream, and he said, how is it making your stuff here? And he asked me all these questions, and then they had said, now, whatever you do, don't tell me you were a crack addict. Right away, I go, I was a crack addict, and I kind of looked at him like this, and he goes, I said, I'm going to have this network, the Lindell Recovery Network, it's going to be free to addicts, and he says, and I'm going to stop the drugs pouring in. I'm going to shut that border down. But it was so many common sense solutions to I go, wow, this is like a businessman, like a CEO. If a president, I never know what a president, I never met one before, but I go, that's when I went all in. I'm going, man, if he really does this, it's problem, solution, and he has a gift of what it's going to manifest to help all people. I always tell people, when government's making decisions that don't help either party, if it doesn't help any of the people, there's a hidden agenda. There's a hidden agenda, and it's not good.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.